Hi guys, and welcome to the very first video in the Let's Build a Website series. In this first video we're going to be creating the HTML shell for our home page. Before we get onto that though, I'd like to show you how the site is laid out in its most initial form. So all of this is going to be taking place in a folder on my computer called Website, which is on the desktop here, and if we click on that we can have a look what's inside here. We can see that we've got two files already in the root directory. We've got an index HTML file and a default CSS file. The index HTML file is going to contain all of the HTML that's going to generate the home page of our site. The default CSS file is going to contain the various styles that are going to control the layout and appearance of our website. We've also got three folders: a JS folder, an includes folder, and an images folder. The JS and includes folder won't come into play for some time. JS is short for JavaScript, and this folder contains two things currently. It contains a file called jQuery. This is a JavaScript library. It's a big file of pre-written JavaScript that makes working with JavaScript on your website a lot easier. We've also got an effects.js file. This is going to contain all the handwritten JavaScript we're going to write up that will reference the jQuery library, and it's going to control the effects that make our website more interactive and modern. The includes folder, this is a folder that's been set aside for PHP. This won't come into play for quite some time. In the future it's going to hold all the various PHP files and PHP snippets that we want to use to make our website more dynamic. And it's just here to keep things better organized. We've also got an images folder. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is going to hold all the images that are going to go on our site. Currently it is empty. We're going to be putting lots of images in this folder and making them appear on our site to make it look more pretty. So that's the layout of the site in its most initial form. And now we're going to bring up my text editor, Komodo. You can see that I've already got the index.html file open and the default CSS file open in it. And we're going to begin creating the HTML shell of our site. So in order to do that, we begin by declaring a doc type. Remember that what a doc type is, it's a piece of information for the browser that tells it what standards we're going to conform to in the creation of this document. Now there's a few versions of HTML out there. We want to use the most recent and the most modern one, which is HTML5. And in order to use HTML5 in a HTML document, all you need to do is set your doc type equal to HTML. It used to be that you had to put a really nasty URL in here for XHTML 4.01, but they changed that because that was rather silly and irritated people. It's a lot simpler now. So obviously in the creation of a HTML document we need our opening and closing HTML tags, and we need to give the document a head and a body. Now the head, of course, containing information about the document but doesn't control how things are laid out and presented in the browser body, and the body containing the HTML that controls the elements that are displayed within the browser body. So we'll deal with the head first because it's relatively simple. We want to give it a language, and of course the language is English, or EN for short. And it's usually a wise idea to specify a character set when you create a HTML document, and you do that using a meta tag. So meta charset equals UTF-8. And what a character set is it's an instruction to the browser about what symbols are going to be used in outputting text to the screen. Now, if you were in China and you were building a website that was meant to be read by Chinese people, you need to specify a different character set. You need to specify a character set that outputted their language to the screen. Now, we're building an English site that's meant to be read by English-speaking people, and so we want to have a character set that generates English symbols. And the most commonly used one is UTF-8. It's a wise idea to include this character set because if you don't, you leave yourself open to some security issues. We're also going to link to our style sheet as common practice so that any changes we make there will take effect. And we might as well give this homepage a title, homepage. And down here in the body, we'll just put up a simple paragraph to check that our changes have worked. So if we go into the browser where index.html is currently open and we refresh the page, we can see that Hello World is outputted to the screen. So we've got a fairly basic home page up already. In no time at all, it's going to start looking a lot better. So that's the HTML shell for our home page. And the next thing we want to do is to go into our style sheet and apply a simple but important style to the whole of our website. Now, there's a new selector in CSS3 known as the star selector. You may already have seen it. And what the star selector does is it takes everything and anything on your site, every paragraph, every div, every header, every list, and it applies the specified style wherever it's appropriate. And the style we want to apply to the entirety of our site is margin 0 pixel, padding 0 pixel. Now, there's a good reason for this, and it's this. HTML elements in a HTML document, they kind of come with preset spacing around them, so margins around them and padding around them. And we want to get rid of this default margin and padding so that we can deal with those things completely on our own terms. For example, paragraph tags, as you can probably imagine, they come with padding above them so that it will separate themselves away from other paragraph tags. We want to reset these default settings across our site so that we have complete control over the layout and appearance of our site. Now don't worry, if we do find ourselves in the future writing out paragraphs, we will put down some padding so that paragraphs will be separated from each other. The important point is, though, we'll be doing that on our own terms, we'll be dealing with it completely on our own terms, and it makes it a lot easier to control the layout of your site if you include this declaration at the beginning of a document. And we can already see this effect begin to take effect. If we go back into our browser and refresh the page, you can see that the words Hello World move up and to the left. And the reason why is there's no longer any margin or padding around them. There's no longer any margin or padding around this paragraph element. And so rather than getting pushed away from the top and the margin on the left, it gets shoved right up into the corner. So this style, this star selector style, is very frequently used in website design. It gives you a greater deal of control over how elements are displayed on your page. One that is frequently also used by myself is to declare a border and just surround everything with borders. From time to time I might resort to this. It's helpful because it allows you to see exactly how elements in your page are being laid out, exactly what padding is being used, exactly what margin is being used. If you want to know how your elements are interplaying with each other, then the border 1 pixel solid black declaration is sometimes useful. That's just an incidental note. So we've written up the basic HTML shell of our home page for the site. We've written up our very first style, and that's it for the very first video. We haven't got a great home page yet, but as I said earlier, in no time at all it's going to start looking a lot better. In the next video, the focus is going to be on getting our website, the block of content that's going to contain our website in place, and putting it in the center of the screen. So I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.